Welcome to GameList, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 1, although we did have an episode 0 last week. I'm Jake, this is Kaulin. Kaulin, what's going on?
Kaulin, I'm here. Dude, I'm super excited to talk about some games and some news this week.
Me too. We are technically streaming this live on Twitch to record it. We're going to chop it down after the fact. This is available in podcast form. It's also available on YouTube form if you want to watch us after the fact. I am streaming it here on my Twitch account, Jake Twitchin. You can find it on YouTube at
Kaulin, Kauline.
Yes, or in your favorite podcast app or feed. All of that is just some table setting. In a perfect world, in GameList episodes 2 and on, none of this will exist. We won't have an intro. I think when we started this show up, my dream was that this podcast would always start the same way, and it will be, "Hey, dude, what you playing?" And that's how the show goes on the road. So we'll definitely keep that going in the future. But for tonight, we gotta do just a little bit of table setting and let you know what this is and why we're here. Episode 0 has a lot of that behind the scenes stuff. We did our Game of the Year conversation and just tried to, kind of start things off on the right foot and get our foot in the water, if you will, to see how this whole thing runs. And I think it's showing some promise, to say the least. So the idea behind GameList is that it is a conversation between my friend and I about what we're playing and what's going on in the video game industry. It's a monthly show where we're going to do this at the end of every month, recapping that month's news. So it's January 31st, 2022, the year of our Lord. And we are going to, we're going to go over so much fucking news. This is a wild month to start this show in because there is a lot to unpack. But the idea behind this is that when we started talking about doing our Game of the Year of 2021, we found that we had a laundry list of shit to sort through and to rank. So what we're going to do is run through every single month what we've been playing for new releases, what we've been playing for old games, and we'll kind of rank those up as we go. There won't be much ranking today because we're just starting these lists off, and let's be honest, January wasn't so hot for new releases.
No.
In addition to talking about the news and the games that we're playing, we will take a look ahead at what's coming out in the next month, the things that we'll be talking about in GameList. Fuck, I really need to get our name down. What we're going to be talking about in GameList episode 2, which will be February 2022. So we'll run down all of the games that are scheduled to come out next month, pending any last minute delays. I think everything's gold in that list, though. Elden Ring's coming, right? Horizon's coming. It's all coming. That's for sure.
We're all coming. What?
And so it begins. All that and more on every episode of GameList, henceforth and forevermore. But I think that gets everything out of the way. I'm Jake. He's Kaulin. You got our voices down. I talk too much. He talks as much as I'll let him.
Pretty much.
Let's jump into things, dude. What have you been playing?
Oh, not much, surprisingly.
That's a bad start.
Like well, I mean, this year's been slow. I haven't been playing that many new games.
Same.
I have been playing Chivalry 2 and Deep Rock Galactic for the most part.
So Deep Rock Galactic kind of counts because it's PlayStation 5 now, which is a new release, but that game's been around for a year or two, right?
Mm-hmm. It's been around on Xbox and like PC for a little bit now. And it just came out on PlayStation, so it's been a fun time so far. Yep.
And are you playing solo or are you playing with a crew?
I got Chop, a friend of mine, personal friend. We're playing, and it's really good to play together. Alone, I don't think I could play it. It's a team game for sure.
I played it. I think they had like a free weekend on Steam maybe a year or so ago, some point during the pandemic. The last 3 years are a blur. But the fellers and I stream with my 3 closest homies on the weekends, and we also do some gaming off stream as well. And we all played that game for a night, and we really liked it. And we thought, this might be something for us in the future. So definitely on my radar. You're digging it so far? Are you still into it, or did you kind of play it and let it fall off of it already?
I've been playing it quite a bit, every couple days, and it definitely has some of those like free game aspects to it.
Yeah,
it's a grind to progress, and there's like 4 different classes that you can progress individually and unlock guns and skins and all sorts of stuff. But it almost has like a roguelike approach to it, where you just hop in, do a mission, and then you're back out and you start back over, kind of.
Yeah, I
Of
remember
course,
that
you keep
little
your
main area where there's like a little rocket
yeah,
ship or drill ship of some sort.
yeah, yeah. It's fun. It can be very hard too sometimes, but
Yep.
I play as a guy. I play as a scout. He's got a little grappling hook, so I just shoot
Nice.
across the map and die from fall damage all the time.
We're just coming off of the year of the grappling hook with Halo, so we're in
Yeah.
good shape. I've been playing Halo still. I hit level 100. That's pretty
Wow.
impressive, but that's
I've
not
played it in a
quite
couple
new
weeks.
news. I'm all in on that game. I'm playing it less than ever before, but it's still ringing true for me, and I'm excited to see what they do next. But Halo hasn't taken up that much time. I've probably put in like 3 or 4 hours in all of this year, to be quite honest. I hop
Yeah.
in, run a couple matches, and call it good.
And my favorite thing about that game is I bought the season pass, and I haven't been playing it, but it's okay. I don't feel pressured to play it because I can play it in the future and still progress in that season
Yeah,
pass.
that season pass format is super clean. I think that's one of the best things that they've done. I don't think we talked about that when we were giving it a Game of the Year credits, because it came in at like number 2 or 3 for my GOTY of this past year. Mostly on the promise of what it can deliver in the future more than what it brings to the table at this very moment. But if you're not informed, the way that the season pass works is very similar to the way that all season passes work. You pay 10 or so bucks worth of in-game currency. You get that season pass that allows you to unlock cosmetics and in-game functionality as you level it up through 100. But instead of being locked to a time frame, you're able to, once multiple season passes are available, you can choose where to direct your XP gain as you go. So if you hop on and you play Halo Infinite, presumably for the first time in 2024, and there's 7 season passes, you could scroll through all of those and say, oh, you know what, that late 2022 season pass is really cool, and it's got that helmet at level 100 that I want. Instead of doing the season pass that is available now, I'm going to buy that season pass from a couple of years ago and grind levels towards that so I get the armor that I want, which is a pretty promising aspect for the future of that game. I hope that it pays off. My current goal is just get all the stuff. So
yeah, I imagine what they're going to do is they started with like Heroes of Reach as the season, so I guess they're probably going to like progress Reach 1, 2, 3, 4, and go from there. I'm just waiting for the Halo 4 so I can get that Chief armor from 4. That is my absolute favorite, man.
Oh Jesus.
I'm a 4 defender. I can't help it.
I know you are. We're gonna get into some more Halo stuff later on when we talk about news, because Halo TV show, the lid's been blown off. We've seen the trailer now, so there's a lot to talk about there. I can't wait to argue with you about it. Good stuff. I've been playing arguably the biggest game of 2022 so far, Pokemon Legends Arceus. And let me tell you, that game is a mixed bag, and I love it. I titled my first stream of it, which I didn't stream it from the get-go this time around. I streamed about 4 hours in, just wherever I was in the story, and I called it a 7 out of 10 in the best way. It's no secret that I like crummy games sometimes, and Pokemon Legends does a lot very well, and it does a lot extremely poorly. But overall, it is such a promising look towards the future of Pokemon. It's the first time they've really tried to reinvent anything in that franchise, and it has been so fun to progress through. It's got a very repetitive gameplay loop. Like, you start out, you're in a tiny little city, you're doing all types of tiny little missions and things like that to help people around the town. Then you go out to the big, I guess, wild area is what you would kind of call it, the adventure field, if you will, the open world. And there's 5 open world zones, I think, maybe more. I've only seen a few. You head out there, you catch a bunch of Pokemon, you have to level up your Pokedex to a certain level, you have to beat the boss of that area, you go back to town, you do a bunch more side quests, you unlock the next area, you go to that area, you catch a bunch of Pokemon, you head back home. But the things that they've really added in there to make that adventuring in that loop more satisfying is insane. It really is a huge step in the right direction. I'm very excited to complete this game. It's definitely keeping me coming back for more, which isn't saying much. I beat Pokemon Sword and Shield, I beat Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl when they came out. I've played the vast majority of Pokemon games, spin-offs included. But I gotta say that this is the one that I think gives me the most hope for the future. I'm excited they're trying something different. It is janky as fuck. It looks like a GameCube game. The menuing system is terrible. The most frustrating thing in the world, Colin, let me just explain this to you. It's going to make you insane. You have a quest system, obviously, with a ton of side quests. So you have your main quest in one column, your side quests in a second column. And you quest through the world, and you have so-and-so at home told you, I want you to catch me a Pidgey. And then the other person says, I want you to catch me a Caterpie. So you go out, and you catch the Pidgey and the Caterpie. And then you come back home, and you're in this big city, and you go, okay, I got to turn these quests in. How do I turn these quests in? You'd assume, oh, I just have to run towards the little blip on my map. No. That blip is not on your map. You need to go and manually select 3 screens into your menu which side quest you'd like to complete, at which point it will set it as the single waypoint that you have to go turn it in. And then once you're done with that quest, you need to open the menu once more, select the other quest that you're ready to turn in, just so you can get the waypoint in front of them. Just please give me an icon on somebody's head. Let me select multiple quests. It's missing quite a few quality of life features that really make it annoying to play, yet I suffer through so happily. It really is something special.
I think you mentioned it the other day as you were streaming, but there's Arceus. Arceus? Which is it?
I still don't fucking know.
Okay, I'll call it Arceus. You'll call it Arceus, and we'll let the comments decide.
One of them will be right.
But Arceus, like, it just looks so open and bland, and I think I understand why. Like, well, I'll give it a reason, right? Like, sure. Breath of the Wild, I think you said that, you know, you're searching for dungeons that are hidden. Yeah. And Arceus is so open and bland. Is it just so you can see the Pokemon from a long way away? Like, that's why it's open, so you can see what you want?
No, because the draw distance is dog shit. So it's not like you're seeing, like, way out in the distance, oh my god, I have to go there. And it is missing some of the, like, I guess I would call it, like, natural beauty that Zelda has. Zelda has this, like, uncanny ability to, like, you'll see a mountain and you're like, wow, that's a large mountain, but there's, like, this little structure to the side of it. I want to go explore that structure. And then as you explore that structure to the right, you get a different viewpoint of the world, and in the distance you see this, like, gigantic waterfall, and you're like, holy shit. After I'm done this, I'm going to this waterfall. It is much more aimless in Pokemon. Outside of what Zelda offers, I think Pokemon sort of already has that ingrained. We're going to be searching around for things. And I think the biggest difference between Zelda's world and Pokemon's world is that, yes, that world is bland, but Zelda doesn't have Pokemon running around in it. So there is this sense of, like, no matter where I go, there could be something that triggers. Maybe it's raining in this area, and the first time I was here, it was daylight. Maybe it's nighttime here, and the last time I was there during the day. Those kind of things add to the experience. I've found myself less trying to go towards a certain spot to find things, and more just aimlessly wandering around the world to see what may pop up. But really digging it so far.
That sounds awful to me. Like, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I get it.
I'm glad people are enjoying it.
For sure.
I need, like, a goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, like, the individual quests and stuff would be a goal, but running through just a bland world, I couldn't do it, man. It's just not for me. And the thing is also, like, Pokemon themselves don't attract me, so I'm not gonna play it just because it's a Pokemon game, right?
Write it down, listeners. Colin, not attracted to Pokemon.
I'm not. I like the card game. I love Pokemon the card game, but, like, video game Pokemon, it's just never been for me. I haven't played one in so long.
Yeah.
And, like, the last one that I completed was Fire Red on an emulator on my phone. Way back. So it's just not for me.
I get it. For me, I'm all in on Pokemon, and I've been eating the shit that they've shoveled down my throat, which is essentially the same game for the last 25 years. It's just nice to see them try something new. So I'm digging it. If you're a Pokemon fan, I'd say it's for you. If you're thinking about trying Pokemon, I think this is probably the one to try, more so than Sword and Shield or Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. What it gets me the most excited for is whatever they do with this format going forward. I'm not sure if this will replace mainline Pokemon games. I expect them to kind of split paths. I would assume we'll get another game that's kind of similar to Sword and Shield or Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, the top-down isometric view, run around, catch your Pokemon, do your quest type of thing, and then kind of have this split Legend series where it's more of this Breath of the Wild influence that goes forward. So I hope they coexist, and I'll be 100% honest, I'm more excited for a sequel to Pokemon Legends than I am for a sequel to the mainline Pokemon games for the future. I think that's saying something for a game series that's been around for 25, 30 years.
Yeah, and I have heard some people say, like, this is a mainline game, which it raises a question for me. Like, I know this is the first Pokemon game that doesn't have, like, a counterpart, like Fire Red and Leaf Green or whatever.
Yeah, no double dip.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know, man. Do you think maybe just a longer dev cycle would have fixed this, or do you think it's just the dev team, Game Freak, doesn't know how to make a Breath of the Wild type world?
It almost feels like a game that was born out of a tech demo. Like they figured out this like open world format where it's like fun to just throw Pokeballs in real time at Pokemon, and they were like, we can make a game out of this, and it just kind of feels like a work in progress. It feels like a complete game in some ways, and it feels incomplete in others. It just feels like a stepping stone, and it's still this really weird situation with Pokemon where they're cut a lot of slack. In some ways, critics and fans are hard on the Pokemon series because it does something that no other franchise does, and then people get mad that it's not up to snuff. Yet
Persona?
I mean, kind of, I guess. Yeah, it's getting there. Temtem didn't cut it. I think Temtem isn't a failure, but Temtem is not the Pokemon. Temtem is not the Pokemon killer that they thought that it may be when it was announced. I don't know. I think it's just, if anything, it is very promising for what the future of Pokemon holds. That's enough of Pokemon. I'm all in. I hope that next week I can talk about it because I should have it completed and I'll be able to have a better idea of what the entire game holds. What I will say in closing thoughts on Pokemon is that the more that I play the game, the more that I like it. It does a okay job of piecemealing you content, and the way that you unlock, without like going into spoiler territories, you unlock additional ways to traverse the world, which opens up the existing areas that you've had more and more. So as you progress, the actual way that you navigate the world becomes more fluid and interesting and less fucking annoying. So the more that I play it, the more that I like it, and I find it fun to go back to the old zones with the things that I've learned in the new zones and apply them there to find new things and secrets and stuff like that. So it's got a satisfying gameplay loop, but there's still more to do. All right, enough Pokemon.
One question: does it have a photo mode?
I mean, you can hit the screen cap button on your Switch.
Okay.
Does that count? There might be a photo mode. I don't know. I didn't use it. It ain't
I don't
no
care about
Pokemon
photo
Snap. Yeah, I don't think it counts. I don't think it quite counts. All right, what else have you been playing? So far, we've gone down Deep Rock Galactic and Pokemon Legends. You said you were playing Chivalry 2 at the top of the show?
Chivalry, dude. It is so good.
Yeah?
Imagine... I'm trying to think of how to describe this correctly. Imagine Battlefield, like the big mass battles. But instead of guns, you're just swinging a sword. And it sounds terrible, but it's literally the most fun thing I've played in a long time. Like, just dumb fun. You've got all sorts of attacks. You can, horizontal, vertical, and like a stab attack. The parry system is really fun.
Like Battlefield?
First person or third person. So there's different game modes. There's like team deathmatch. There's like a siege thing where you have objectives that you're trying to push forward and take things. Which kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you ever played the War, like, was it called War in Call of Duty World War II, where it was a progressing map. Well, there's like a progressing map, and you get an objective, you get more time added to the clock, and you push forward. It's really fun. There's just a button to just yell dumb stuff. You can throw, you just press square and you like scream going into battle. You just start screaming.
Does it do anything for you, or is it just?
Oh, absolutely not. It's just fun. It's just.
It does sound fun.
You can pick up people's like chopped off limbs and just toss them at people, and you can kill people by tossing a decapitated head at them, right? It's a very gory game, but it's one of the most fun games I've played in a while. Just dumb fun.
Yeah.
And there's also like quite a bit of a skill curve to it. Like I felt really good right at the start. I got out of the tutorial. I was like, man, this is easy. I got this. Turns out I was putting in an AI battle. And then I got into a real,
So you were crushing.
I got into a real game after that, and I've just been demolished ever since then. But it's okay because I really like it.
Even getting destroyed, you're still digging it. Yeah.
It's fun to die in that game.
Yep.
And when you're outmatched, right? If you can win a 2-on-1, you feel like the best knight there ever was. It's definitely a game that I want to squad up with the boys on and just all charge into battle. I think everyone should play this game. I mean,
where are you playing it?
PS5. It's
PS5
crossplay. I know it's crossplay because they're like PlayStation symbols and then like a network symbol.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's crossplay with everything or if it's just like PC, but I'm sure it's crossplay with everything. But it's just dumb fun. Like I haven't had a game in a really long time and I can just turn my brain off and enjoy whether I'm winning or losing. Also, one scummy thing that I do is there are trophies. Naturally, me talking about trophies. There are trophies for winning like 25, like 25 battles on each map. Well, you can change teams at any time. So what I do is I just wait till the very end and I'm like, oh, this team's going to win. Let's change to that team real quick so I can get the trophy on it.
Scumming it.
But yeah, absolutely. I got to get those trophies. I can't help it. It's like OCD, but for trophies.
I get it.
It's a phenomenal game and I think everyone should try it out.
That's on my list of things to try. From our GOTY list last week, I took some inspiration from you and I grabbed a couple games. I grabbed A Short Hike. I grabbed I'm looking for Deathloop still. I think I'm willing to give that a go, and I'm gonna add Chivalry 2 to that list because it definitely seems like something that could be some dumb fun with the homies for sure. So
yeah,
I'm gonna check it out.
It is.
Nice.
It is, and I think it's Chivalry? Deep enough. I think it's a deep enough combat system for people who want to get more into it. They can. But at the same time, if you just want to play it like once a week, you'll still have a good time without being like the best there is.
Nice.
There's also like in Star Wars Battlefront 2, there was like the hero mode where you could do like 2v2 or like 1v1 or something like that. There's this in this game. So if you want to just battle it down with one person without interruptions, you can do that, and it's also really fun.
Nice. Fuck yeah. Chivalry 2, baby. I have been... What did I do? I cruised through... I don't want to talk about it for long, but I cruised through Firewatch. For like 5 years, everyone and their mother has told me that I need to play Firewatch. And I did, and I think I missed the boat. I think it's been too long for me to appreciate it. Perhaps it's because I've been playing Outer Wilds. More on Outer Wilds to come in this very podcast. But I didn't love the narrative. I didn't like the story that they were telling. I didn't love the ending. Firewatch didn't do it for me. In the theme of things that didn't do it for me as well, I wanted to like Windjammers 2 a lot for a 2022 release. It's on Game Pass. It's worth checking out. It ends up playing a little bit more like a modern fighting game than it does like a sports game. It's kind of like a Frisbee and Pong mixed together in like a nice 2D battle arena playing field. It's made by .emu, the people that made Streets of Rage 4, the ones who kind of went back and grabbed that franchise and brought it back to life. So it looks absolutely fantastic. It's a really nice rendition of a classic arcade game. But there's a lot going on. It's a bit of a one-trick pony. You know, it's just you versus the other person on the screen. And it's very in-depth. There's a ton of special moves to learn. For a game that looks simple, there's a lot to do, but not exactly for me. Not exactly for me. The last 2022 game that I played was Nobody Saves the World. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it. What I know is you unlock characters that have different abilities, and that's pretty much it. I don't know anything about this game.
Top-down 2D Zelda-like is the best way to do it. It's got a grinding dungeon element, so you have like an overworld where you're unlocking assorted dungeons. You progress through those dungeons, you kill enemies, you gain EXP. The big hook on it is that XP can be dumped into one of at least 20 characters. I've got probably 10 or 12 of them already, and it's almost like a skill tree. You start as this little dude, this little freak with no abilities whatsoever, and you eventually end up in a situation where you're unlocking a ton of new characters, wacky characters with crazy abilities. The gameplay is super sound. It's a very satisfying game to play because they have like constant quests that you are completing that go towards whatever character you're playing as at the time. And I fell off the game in like 4 hours. I wanted to like it, I think, a little bit more than I did. It's definitely fun if you're into 2D hack and slash light RPG elements, almost like roguelike elements. It might be for you, but for me, something that I may come back to. Doesn't need any more work. It's definitely a complete game. Just not exactly my jam. It's on Game Pass. It's worth checking out.
Yeah, I'm not a big roguelike guy. Like I said last episode, I guess
says the guy with fucking Returnal and Deathloop at the top of his list from last year.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like that was my first ever like roguelike that I played to completion was Returnal. And it's just on another level. It's so good.
Yeah.
But enough of Returnal. I can talk about
yeah. We've been there. Yeah. All right, let's get into the big hog. I played for the first time in my life this month The Outer Wilds. And this fucking video game is just the best. And you don't exactly agree?
I think it was a good game.
That's the most insulting thing you've ever said to me.
Okay.
I think it was a good game. You might as well call it a giant piece of shit.
The short story is Jake played it and said, "Hey guys, you have to play this game." And I said, "You know what? Okay, I think we should talk about it." So I got it, played it, wasn't impressed when I completed it. But then I went back, got all the trophies for it, and I left appreciating it more. Do I think it's the best game ever made? No. Do I think it does some really cool things, especially with like flying from planet to planet and the way you solve puzzles by getting clues on other planets? Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think that some of the clues could have been more directed, right? Like I felt like I needed a sheet of paper to take notes.
I had a sheet of paper I took notes with.
See, I didn't do that. Yeah. And I don't like taking notes.
The reason why you and I make a good podcast / show combo is because we are vastly different gamers. And obviously this is episode 1, episode 2, depending on how you count them. You guys will come to realize the differences between us. Kaulin is good at video games. I am bad at video games. Kaulin is a completionist. Good. I am the opposite of that. I've only ever completed a single video game in my life, like 100% completed, and it was last year. I'm proud of you for I am, I guess, moderately obsessed with the idea of like games that bring something new to the table. I'm looking for something that is different than the norm. Despite my number one pick of last year being like a perfected old version of a video game in Ratchet and Clank, it didn't do anything new. The things on the list that I'm really proud of having as high up as they are things like Before Your Eyes and Unpacking. And I think Outer Wilds is a game that kind of is more in line with them than most other games. I see a lot of people compare this to No Man's Sky because you're in a spaceship. But this is truly like a first-person puzzle game at its core. Mystery game, maybe? Mystery puzzle game, I guess, is the best way to describe it. And essentially, it's a free-form mystery to solve. You can go about it in many different ways. You have an entire solar system of things to explore. It is a game that took a couple hours to sell me, and then once it sold me, I could not put it down. And maybe you were different, and you were just kind of being propelled along by the ambition to complete the video game, and that's kind of the vibe that I got from you, which isn't an insult. Everyone plays their game, the own way. What their own way. What I found with myself is that I was able to get lost in this world. I found myself very interested in these clues that I was finding and reading more in this game than I've read in maybe any other game ever. I'm a big text skipper. If your lore is not like completely sucking me in, I will mash A through any dialogue that a video game gives me. Yet with Outer Wilds, I find myself discovering clues, going back to my ship, opening up my board of mysteries, and really reading those clues over and over again and trying to piece together the pieces to this puzzle. In that gameplay loop, which is a loop in the purest form, it is a time loop game. It's a game where you have a finite amount of time to progress however you decide the story should go for that loop. At the end of it, you are eliminated and you are brought back to life at the start of that loop once again. Colin and I have gone back and forth on if we should talk about spoilers in this conversation. And
I think we should, but
I think not. So here's my stipulation. This is our first episode of our show. If you're listening to this as a listener, my guess is Outer Wilds is not the biggest game, but the fact that one of us are so hot on it that we think that they should go play it, I feel like the main message of this segment is go try this game, not here's what happens in this game. You know, I want people to go play this, and if we ruin the ending, I think they're going to be less inclined to do so.
It definitely is a game that you need the mystery to drive you in. Yeah. I agree there. My reasoning for spoiling it is it's been 3 years, right? But we can compromise. We can do a special edition podcast one day and just send it out randomly. That's just
you heard it here first. GameList, a monthly show, will have its first special edition episode. When you ask, not so soon. Here's my thought. Let's do something cool. Let's do something fun.
Okay.
We're gonna make Outer Wilds like our first thing. So we were talking about this earlier on. It's like, okay, we do this show monthly. That's not often. The good news is that Kaulin and I are both found in other places. You can watch videos of his on YouTube. You can watch either of our streams on Twitch. You can talk to us all you want. You can hop in our Twitch channel and say, hey, dude, I finished Outer Wild. What did you think? I'll tell you, this, that, the other thing. Get the fuck out. It's my podcast now. Here's what we'll do. We'll make this our first, extracurricular thing. So what we'll do is you and I will on the side record a secret segment where we talk about Outer Wilds in its entirety, spoilered 100%. No one will hear this. The next thing you will see is a co-stream on one of our channels. Let's hop on and we'll do the expansion that we haven't done together.
Echoes of the Eye.
Echoes of the Eye, which just came out in the last year. Outer Wilds also on Game Pass, worth mentioning, because I feel like that's another reason why we shouldn't spoil is because people that didn't have the opportunity to play it, that are interested now, can go and just play it with their $15 a month subscription, wherever the fuck they please. So we'll do that. We'll play it together on stream, and then we'll record a second half of that spoiler conversation, including the Echoes of the Eye, and then we'll put the whole thing up. It'll be wonderful.
Okay. I also I think that's great. I think that's a great idea. And but to have access to this, you'll have to subscribe to our Patreon at the $15 tier.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There's no Patreon. That's a joke.
There's no Patreon though.
Chat listeners.
Yeah, but no, I think that's a great idea. I think it's a good way to get around spoiling it on this, so we can keep it spoiler free. But still have it happen. So I think that's good. I like that compromise.
We're in business.
But back to what you said a couple minutes ago. You don't like reading in this game. This game, the only way to progress is to read. If you're dyslexic, you're done. You're screwed. Good luck. There's so much text in this game, and the text was interesting. The mystery part of this game I loved. The puzzle part, not so much.
I get that.
But yeah, I think it is I think it's a recommend. I wouldn't say it's a must play to me personally, but I think it's a recommend. You should check it out if you have easy access to it, and it's also on sale right now for like $11 on Steam.
Really?
So if you're listening to, I think so. Maybe it's
that's actually something that like I enjoyed this game so much that I feel like I should go out and purchase it, and I need that expansion anyway, so maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, the expansion's another $11, I think, but
that's okay.
It's still worth $11. I'll give it that. It's a good game. It's very unique, and I had a good time with it overall.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing else even close to like it. It's also worth noting there is a fantastic no-clip documentary on the making of the game that really sells me on it. It was like a student project for someone who then decided to develop it into a full game. The fucking story behind it is absolutely ridiculous and worth checking out on its own right. Because this is a game that's been made for, it's got like a 7-year development cycle now since it first began. And let me tell you, it was worth the time and effort because they created something that is not like any other video game that I've ever played, which is a big selling point to me. I love it when that happens. I love when something really, really changes my perspective on what a game can be. And Outer Wilds did it, for sure. Glowing recommendation from me. Give it a number, Kaulin.
I would give it an 8.
That's a really good score.
Well,
for how harsh you've been on it so far.
I give it like a 6.5 to finish the story. I give it an 8 to get the platinum. Yeah. I don't know. One thing I will say is my reasoning behind getting the platinum on most games is I get to see like the full picture of the game. You get to see exactly what the devs want you to do, right? And also get a little bit more money out of my game by spending more time on it. And
sure.
I think it elevated the experience for me to get the platinum on that game.
That's worth mentioning, no doubt, because I have zero ambition, despite loving the game, of actually getting the platinum. So the fact that enhances it for some people, all in.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's also worth noting I could have played this for free on Game Pass, but I spent however much money on it just to get the platinum.
A psychopath. That's the weirdest thing in the world.
I think it's like a mental illness or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Microsoft appears to rule the world. You might want to work on that achievement score before it becomes the monopoly that it could be. You might be getting those trophies transferred to achievements in 10 years when Sony is absorbed by Microsoft.
Had you told me that last week, I would have considered it, but PlayStation's making moves.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Small moves, pocket change moves.
I mean, I wish I had that kind of pocket change.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's a pretty good segue into news. Is there anything else you've been playing that you want to mention? I mean, I've got a list. I'll run down literally every game that I put more than 60 seconds into this month real quick, just to embarrass myself. Played Final Fantasy XIV, Halo Infinite, Sonic Adventure, Hollow Knight, which I really like, but is very difficult. Outer Wilds, Battle Royale on Steam. It's like a Scrabble Battle Royale. It's only okay, but
oh god,
it's worth checking out. Astro Near, Minecraft, Jade Empire, Mario Kart 8, Joe and Mac for the Super Nintendo, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, Castle Crashers, Fuser, Firewatch, Nobody Saves the World, Windjammers 2, Pokemon Legends. If you don't think I should have a podcast, go back and listen to that fucking list again. I'm a monster.
It's a good list. I would like to spend a minute or two talking about Until Dawn.
Yeah.
As people who watch me on Twitch know that I like to play horror games on stream. Because I guess it's entertaining to watch me get scared because I'm easily scared.
It is entertaining.
Yeah, Until Dawn surprised the heck out of me. It was a game that came out, I think, back in 2015, near the launch of the PS4. And it is a beautiful game. I'll just say that off the start. It still looks great today.
It's got Rami Malek in it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And man, the scares in that game and just the story and the butterfly effect. That's the big like umbrella over the game that they introduce you to it right at the start. Umbrella effect, of course, is, or did I say umbrella effect? I meant to say butterfly effect. I don't know where I got umbrella from. Isn't that what is umbrella effect? I don't know if that's
umbrella like Resident Evil. You got Resident Evil on the mind?
Maybe Umbrella Academy. I don't know. But anyways, butterfly effect, one decision changes something way down the line, or one flap of a butterfly's wings can make a hurricane that kills millions or whatever.
Intense.
Anyways, there are choices all throughout the game. There are choices to run left or run right or climb up or jump over, right? Just simple choices that end up having big repercussions down the line. Many of the choices decide whether you're 8 people, they're in a cabin, 8 people are in a cabin for a night, whether they live or die, right? It's just a ton of crazy, horrific deaths and just terrifying monsters and slasher men. I don't even know where to start with this game, because it surprised me and I loved it. I loved every second of it. And it's got me collecting all of their new games. What's that
yeah,
studio?
Man of Medan.
Man of Medan. Supermassive. That's the studio. I've got one of theirs right here.
That's right.
But I'll be.
That's the newest one
that
you just held up, correct? House of Ashes. There's three.
Yeah.
There's 3
House
now.
Of Ashes. There is, and they're each shorter than Until Dawn.
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to play through them in order is because in Until Dawn, you can pick up these totems that give you like a quick 2-second view of something that's going to happen in the future to guide you. And evidently those visions happen in a game in Man of Medan that might affect something in Little Hope, which is the next game.
Nice. Mass Effect style.
Yeah, for sure. But if you're into horror games and you've never played Until Dawn, check it out. It's free on PlayStation Collection, PS Collection, PS Plus Collection. If you have a
PS5, it's in the PS4 library of games they shovel at you for free.
And you can get it pretty cheap most of the time. It's a great horror experience. That I genuinely want to go back to, and I never want to go back to horror games.
Me either, but I never want to play them in the first place.
That's fair.
That's why I want to play Echoes of the Eye with you, because I heard the Outer Wilds expansion is kind of scary. So if I don't have to play it firsthand and I can still point you in the right directions, I'm down for that for sure. Absolutely. And some of the other games that I've been playing recently that I'll just kind of breeze over. Yeah, rattle down your list.
It's shorter than yours. I don't feel like a good gamer right now.
No, don't try to reach my levels of absolute insanity.
We'll blame it on school.
I'm indecisive.
Pharmacy school.
There it is.
Yeah, but anyways, Deep Rock Galactic, of course, we talked about it. Skyrim got the platinum on it. Outriders, a surprisingly solid looter shooter that is not a live service. I haven't finished it yet, but I've enjoyed my time with it.
Did you buy it on PlayStation?
I did. Got the PS5. Bro, I gotta get that platinum.
Game Pass.
I can't help it. I don't know what it is. Bloons TD6, which is like a tower defense game on Steam that you can get for $2. Nice. You're playing as monkeys shooting balloons. It's a great time waster. Outer Wilds, Fallout 4. After I finished Skyrim, I said, you know what? I got to play some Fallout 4. And then I'm having a really hard time. Yeah, I'm having a really hard time playing it because it's stuck at 30 frames on PlayStation. Yep. But Skyrim has a 60 frame update. But anyways, and then Until Dawn and Chivalry 2. Oh, and also I'm still playing Hell Let Loose. Great game.
That's right. One of your goatees of last year.
It is. Wild. Number 4.
All right. I think we shall move on to GameList headlines. The headlines of January 2022. Now listen, January 2022 is a legendary month for gaming news. There is so much to go over. This is a monthly podcast. We got a lot of topics to go over. Let's try our best not to spend a ton of fucking time on the biggest news story ever created, because it has been pummeled to death by sources more professional than us. But Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard for $69 billion fucking dollars.
There's a big difference in zeros there.
Christ, there is indeed. Absolutely fucking insane, obviously. What do you make of it? You're a Sony guy, so it must have been alarming for you.
Well, I would say being a Sony guy is a little bit of a stretch. Oh god, how do I even say this? I have the stinkiest face right now for those listening and not watching.
as he
I
says,
like
I'm not a
video
Sony
games,
guy.
okay? And I will play. I have an Xbox Series X right in front of me, right? Halo Edition, by the way.
Nice
Pretty,
work.
so pretty. But I like to get trophies, right? So that's why I mainly play everything on PlayStation. It's like a consolidated platform where I've just had most of my stuff over the years. But I still have an Xbox for Forza and Halo and
Yeah.
whatever else they're going to come out with. Seeing this news didn't hurt as bad as the Bethesda buy because I'm such a big Dishonored guy
Mm-hmm.
and Skyrim and stuff. But seeing this, it was a little worrisome. I'm getting to the point where I'm over acquisitions entirely.
Yeah.
I even tweeted today. I just stop buying stuff. It made it better today. We'll get into it in a second, but I think limiting all these things to one platform is just getting ridiculous. It was nice when each console had like, I don't know, 5 exclusives or so. I thought that was great.
Mm.
But now that like it's walling everything off, like we're getting dangerously close to a monopoly here.
No.
And I think so. I really do. And they even said like they're still looking into more acquisitions. I think it's great for Activision, the company itself. I think Xbox is going to do some great stuff within that company to fix all of the stuff and get Bobby Kotick, I don't know, out of there. Toss him out. We're done with him. I think it's great for them, but I think for gaming as a whole, it might be bad if it goes exclusive. Competition's good, but
Yeah.
locking stuff off, I don't know.
I'm in a
It's
different
tough
camp. I think if it was, I don't know. It's a really strange situation because of the state of Activision Blizzard and everything that's happened over the last couple of years, all the allegations and whatnot. Obviously, not a healthy working environment. Hopefully, that is all fixed by this in some way. I don't know if they need to cut out all the cancer or exactly how to fix it. That's for people that are paid far more than me to figure out. But overall, I'm not opposed to these companies being bought up by the big guys. I think it's incredible just to take it, 30 days ago, if you said the words Activision Blizzard, the first thing that would come to mind would be abuse allegations, nightmare place to work. And now when you say Activision Blizzard, I think of Xbox acquisition. So it's amazing what that has done to just heal their image in the first place. It doesn't, not to take away from anything that's been happening in that landscape, obviously, but the public perception, the fact that you're able to create news that's bigger. It's the most unfortunate example of any press is good press is not great to apply here, but you can't escape the fact that this big ripple changes the way that people are speaking about this company's name.
And I think it's interesting because Phil Spencer came out and was like, "Hey, we are evaluating every aspect of our relationship with Activision during all this stuff going down," and then they just bought them.
Then they purchased it. Yeah.
All right, this is our relationship
it's
now.
Wild. It's Blizzard is a company that's needed resuscitation in a big bad way for a long time. I'm less concerned about like the Call of Duty aspect of things because that doesn't quite resonate with me as much as I'm like a big old school Blizzard fan. Warcraft 3, StarCraft 1, all those games, Diablo 2 are incredible to me, and to see that company fall from grace in the way that it has, especially in the last 5 years, is terrible. So I'm just hoping that they're able to bring in some new talent or rehire talent that is left during all of this stuff to get that company back to the state that it was in maybe 10 or 15 years ago without all of the unfortunate superlatives that apparently came with working there. So as far as like individual gaming franchises go, I hope it is good for gamers. But either way, we've done a piss poor job of not talking about this for too long. So what do you say?
Well, I also think if we look at Call of Duty specifically, PS4 and PS5 is outselling Xbox 2-1. And I don't see Call of Duty ever going Xbox exclusive. They would be taking away 2/3 of their install base, and they make money off of microtransactions.
I don't think they give a fuck. I don't.
You
think
don't?
They
You think
give
they would
a
just
fuck.
toss it?
Yeah, I think so. I think they have contractual obligations. I think there's been some leaks that at least for the next like 2 or 3 years we'll get most of the Call of Duty stuff that's guaranteed to PlayStation on PlayStation. I think at the drop of a hat they will take that shit for themselves and they'll say if you want it bad enough you'll fucking come over, and if you won't we'll make do with what we have. They've become such a gigantic fucking conglomerate, and it would make only more sense for that stuff to just be ripped from the hands of the people that once held it dear, with a $500 option to get back in the door via Series X, because that's what it's really going to boil down to, is that when all of this is done, 25 years from now, there probably will either be an Xbox or a PlayStation. There will be one console to rule them all, and it's the one that will have the better games, I think, and I think that's going to end up being probably Game Pass. I don't know. That's a guess. That's a guess.
Yeah, I just don't see them taking it off of PlayStation.
Yeah, I think it'll be, at the very least, you'll see maybe Warzone will stay and the campaigns and the new games will only come to Xbox, or it'll be like the days of old. I mean, Activision has never shied away from playing favorites. They've always had some sort of shady backdoor deal going. Hey, in the 360
like
era,
deals.
You get the better Call of Duty experience. Your DLC comes out first. For the Sony era, for the PlayStation 4 era, you get this game mode before everybody else gets it. We're buying and playing on a Sony platform. They've never shied away from that, and I think it's only going to get more and more extreme. I mean, if you own Call of Duty, you want to make Call of Duty the best experience on the home console. So I would say it's only a matter of time. You think that World of Warcraft subscription is included with Game Pass at any point in the next 5 years?
Probably.
Yeah.
Game Pass price is going up soon. Calling it right now.
For sure. Well worth it though. They can charge me $25 a month and I'll still pay that happily right now.
Damn, bro.
All right.
I say
let's move on.
Like far more.
E3. I feel like E3 might be dead. It was announced in the past month that E3 2022 has also been moved to an online-only event with the resurgence of Omicron in our landscape. Yeah. And I think that might be the killing blow. They haven't been able to recapture the initial E3 wave of excitement in the past couple of years. The digital ones have fallen flat. I think it's Keighley's time to shine now. Sony is the ones that put their flag in the ground first. I mean, as far back as I can remember, they were the first big company to say, fuck you, we're not coming to E3 and paying your crazy fees and dues to have an event. People will tune into our event no matter where the fuck it's hosted. We'll also have a summer event with a showcase. It just won't be on your show floor. And the world was no worse for it. So with the cancellation there, I feel like it's only a matter of time until there is no online event. And even now, it seems that with the news of the cancellation of the in-person event, even the online E3 is up in the air. So Summer Game Fest for me.
Yeah. E3's dead. It started dying when Sony pulled out, and it's only gotten worse from there.
Yeah.
Keighley knows how to do the online stuff. I mean, he has it figured out.
The only one.
And he can draw PlayStation in too. What did he reveal last year? That was PlayStation. I don't remember what it was, but he got, was it, I think it was Horizon Forbidden West he revealed in Summer Game Fest last year.
Might have been tied in. I'm not positive.
I don't remember. It was one big Sony property, which was surprising to me that they let him have it at all.
Yeah. Also, if you guys haven't listened to our episode 0 where we do a little bit of our origin story, this show indirectly brought to you by Jeff Keighley.
Indirectly? Yeah, I know. My man, Jeff.
No affiliation or association, but we wouldn't be here without him.
Email.
It's not a big deal. It's really, no, not a problem. So yeah, tough look for E3. On the topic of Sony dropping out, Sony has gone on a fucking spree of announcements, which we will rapid fire hit right now. The first one happened today. Discord.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, there's 2 big Sony announcements today. Integration started between Discord and PlayStation today. You are way better suited to talk about this.
Yeah, so right now it's pretty bare bones. You sign in on Discord, which is rolling out gradually over the next couple of days to US users. You can integrate your PlayStation account, and it will show what you're playing and how long you've been playing it. That's pretty much it for right now. But in the future, they have confirmed that they're working on getting voice chat and stuff onto PlayStation. So in the future, PlayStation will have Discord voice chat. So I guess technically, one day we could be streaming this, and someone from a PlayStation party could hop into this chat.
Into it. If you were watching this in the future on your PlayStation, please leave a comment, no matter how far off that is.
Yeah, and I will say, as a streamer who plays on PlayStation but wants to have parties on PlayStation but still get it through like my PC and stuff, that's going to make things so much easier to be able to have them hop into Discord and then capture Discord audio instead of using all these wire workarounds to capture chat. So I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, and it's convenient. I think that's it's a natural fit. Gamers love Discord. Gamers love PlayStation. Why not put it all together? We'll work our way up from what I perceive as the least important Sony news to the most important Sony news. So from Discord integration, we'll move to the official announcement of PSVR 2, which is, man, it's kind of like the announcement of an announcement, though.
Yeah.
Maybe this one could have gone first. This is less interesting to me because it's kind of like just confirming a bunch of like leaks and speculation that PSVR 2 is coming, right? Isn't that kind of the ins and outs? It's got a very high definition screen and more information later.
Yeah, it's got a 4K screen. 4K for each eye, I believe. It could be 2K per eye. I don't quite know the specifics there. Refresh rate of 90 to 120. The coolest thing I think is it's using like the Oculus Quest type inside out tracking, meaning it has cameras along the face piece that will track your rooms, so you don't have to have a camera hooked up. And it also has eye tracking on it. I'm not sure how that will be implemented in games, but it will track your eye movement. So that's cool. And then there are the Sense controllers, not the DualSense, but the Sense controllers.
Yes.
That will be using tech from the DualSense to bring it into VR, and they look a lot like the Oculus controllers. I think as a whole, like it's gonna be a good system. It does have a wire still, but only one wire. As someone who owns PSVR, it is a pain in the butt to get that sucker set up.
Man, VR is even more annoying than the console wars that we were talking about. The VR wars are extremely, extremely annoying. Yeah. It is a tough ask. I am far more inclined to have an Xbox and a PlayStation sitting on my desk than I would be having a PSVR and an Oculus. I feel like for most consumers, myself for sure, and I don't know how many people agree with me on this, but I have an Oculus Rift S, I think, which is like maybe the second version of the Oculus VR PC. It's wired in. It's dated hardware at this point. And my ambition to go out and get any other VR headset or even upgrade the one that I have is fucking non-existent.
Which it's a fad. It's a novelty in my opinion. Like I personally don't think it will ever be the next thing of games. I think what we have now is good. Like I don't think
somewhere
VR,
I was gonna say someone in 2035 is watching us on a fucking PSVR 4 right now, laughing their asses off about you calling it a fad.
Maybe since it's lasted so long, it's a little more than a fad. But it's a very niche market that I mean, I have two headsets and I barely ever use them. I'm not gonna load up and play Battlefield 2052 on a PSVR headset, right?
Yeah.
It's a niche market that some people love. There are some very unique experiences that you can have in VR, like Pistol Whip and Beat Saber.
Sure.
But I don't think it's ever going to be the mainstream or ever take over modern consoles.
Interesting to see this time around. I think with PSVR 2 news being all encapsulated into one thing, the most exciting thing for me is that Sony seems into it. I would say that PSVR 2's Horizon game that they announced.
Yeah.
You got a name on that? Call of the Mountain?
Yes. Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Work on their naming conventions. That's a bad name.
But I would say calling to you.
Oh, right. Of course. Let me slap on my fucking fancy headset and climb that bitch. But I think It's the biggest vote of confidence, I think, in a first-party VR hardware, since the only other true example of it is the Index with Half-Life Alyx, where this is a big budget AAA franchise game being created for first-party hardware. So it's interesting to see that come about. But even Half-Life Alyx, I played on my Oculus. You know, it doesn't require the Index. I mean, this will be an exclusive AAA game for PSVR. So I think that's exciting. They're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're going to try to make it, you know, at some point, even with everything that I just said, naysaying VR, somebody is going to announce something that is so interesting to me for a VR headset that I don't have that it will probably force me to go out and purchase said headset so that I can have said experience. I don't know what that is yet. If Square Enix says Kingdom Hearts 5 is coming out VR only on the Soroscope VR headset, day one purchase.
What if there's a Tifa dating sim that is VR only?
Stop the show.
That's it. I was about to say it's
Stop the show.
Isn't it?
Who's working on this?
I'm sure somewhere has it.
Let's get to the biggest Sony news, and this is late breaking. Let me tell you, what a weird, convoluted way to put these things together. The news is PlayStation, Sony, has acquired Bungie.
It's so stupid.
Out of fucking nowhere. And the messaging on it is strange as hell as well, saying it's going to remain multi-platform. Let me first just focus on, before I let you take it away on the ins and outs of the actual announcement, from an outside perspective, truly, I've had a weird day. And I haven't read all that much about this, but talk about mommy and daddy are fighting and there's like all sorts of weird stuff going on with Bungie. Bungie's story, the way that it intersects with all these acquisitions, is so fucking strange. Bungie was doing their own thing. They developed Halo for Microsoft.
Yep.
Microsoft just acquired Activision Blizzard. For a period of time, Bungie was partnered with Activision for distribution and publishing on their game. I mentioned on a stream a while back when I was doing headlines and news before we had a format in which to share things in a professional manner, as you see here, that Bungie dodged the Activision Blizzard nightmare by like 6 months. They announced like, hey, we're parting ways. We're not sure what's next. We're going to do our own thing and self-publish. Either way, we're done with Activision. And then months later, Activision Blizzard blows up as just like the worst place on the planet. So they dodged that bullet. Now, all of a sudden, in the world of gigantic acquisitions of 2022, here's Bungie now getting acquired by PlayStation with the asterisk that our games will remain multi-platform.
Which I love that.
So they say. What else do I need to know about this acquisition? I know.
It's $3.6 billion, so just a
Small-
fraction of
small potatoes.
Activision. Yeah, right. It's about half of what Xbox bought Bethesda for. Still lots of money, but so the wording is Bungie will continue to independently publish and creatively develop our games. Their games, Bungie's games. So it's very interesting to see that they are going to independently publish it.
Yeah.
I figured Sony would take over as the publisher on that. But there must have been something very specific in the paperwork. Bungie has to have been burnt, right? Because they split off from Microsoft. A small aside, Bungie was working on Halo, and Halo 1, 2, and 3 all had really rough development cycles. I've been listening to Video Gameography about Halo's history here recently. And they had very difficult development cycles, 1, 2, and 3. And Bungie said, we're done with Halo. We want out. Let us out. We're done. Microsoft said, give us 2 more Halo games and you're good to go. So they made ODST and they made Reach. And then from there, they're out and they're making Destiny, which they needed a publishing partner. So they went to Activision, and then I guess they were tired of Activision, or maybe Destiny just got big enough that it didn't need a publishing partner anymore.
Sure.
So they branched off from Activision, and then now they're back, but not with a publishing partner.
Yeah.
It says that Sony's first and most immediate influence will be acceleration of the studio's hiring process. So I
Yeah.
wonder if Sony's going to send over some talent to Bungie and possibly even take some multiplayer, like massive, I don't know,
Mm.
continued supported game, a live service game. That's the word I'm looking for, and take that talent and implement it across other games because PlayStation has always been behind in the multiplayer scene. They've always
Yeah.
had a better single player, like story driven scene, but they've been behind on the multiplayer.
For
And I
sure.
think this is a big move for them to try to catch up and make their own live service titles. Personally, I hate live service titles. But Bungie has insane talent, and I think it's like a 800 person studio. So it's quite a large acquisition.
Yeah.
Um, it's so interesting because PlayStation now owns Bungie, who made Halo. Xbox owns Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, and
How the turntables.
my brain is melting.
Yeah. It's
I'm
wild.
just glad. Yeah, I'm just glad Sony already owns Sucker Punch, so Sly
Yeah.
Cooper's not going anywhere.
Yep. What do you think the next big video game acquisition is going to be?
Um,
Nintendo's so small compared to all these guys.
are we talking like just a single studio or like the next Activision Bethesda type
What's
thing?
the next big headline of like so and so got scooped up by this? I feel like Nintendo needs to lock down some of their smaller partners that they work with frequently. Like they picked up
Yeah.
Next Level Games, I think, recently.
Yeah.
Who produced Luigi's Mansion because they're still independent.
I don't know.
Luigi's Mansion. Don't worry. I got it. It's something along the lines of like it's a studio that you've heard about for sure. Next Level Games. You've heard of it because I brought it up.
Yeah, I've heard of that one before.
But I feel like Nintendo needs to lock something down, or everybody is going to snatch up all the talent from under them, and they're going to be left with nothing. The thing is like I keep hearing Nintendo needs to buy Sega. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't need to go out and buy Mario's biggest competitor and put them on the same system and cannibalize their own products. They already have a good working situation.
A lot of the time, so
yeah, exactly. Nintendo needs to pick up something else, but I don't know. I don't know if you had something in your head that was someone who's ripe for the picking. Do you think like a Ubisoft or an EA could go?
No, Ubisoft and EA are gigantic. Like they're even
gigantic and shitty.
Activision, right? Yeah, I think my prediction, Sony's gonna buy Bandai Namco.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. They got a nice, healthy relationship over there.
Yep, the Japanese influence, which I did see a post that none of these studios that have been bought up recently are Japanese studios. So
Yeah.
I wonder if there's something culturally that's keeping them out of these giant acquisitions.
Possibly.
And I don't think that Nintendo's going to purchase anyone. They're doing their own thing. I think
it would be smart. I know Microsoft is already, picking up quite a few things, but I think Microsoft could use a good Japanese developer because I think Square Enix would probably be likely to go to Sony. They've been working so closely together lately. Maybe like a Capcom, something along those lines.
Which, I mean, even then, Square's been close with Sony for a long time, but Bethesda was working close with Sony right before they got bought by Microsoft. I mean, they had all those exclusive deals, so I don't think it really matters. I think it's who offers the biggest paycheck.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I don't know, man. It's craziness.
Cash rules everything around me.
I was honestly stunned when I saw this today.
It is wild.
So Bungie's in an interesting position to be acquired by PlayStation, but not being published, or nothing's published by PlayStation. I wonder if it's going to have the PlayStation Studios like branding.
Yeah,
surely it will, right?
At least in opening credits, you'll be seeing something Sony or PlayStation related.
Yeah.
Which isn't brand new. I mean, they just announced today that the MLB The Show is coming back once again to Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. So, I don't know. And weird waters we're in right now.
I would be happy if PlayStation put everything on Xbox. That wouldn't bother me at all. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my God, Uncharted on an Xbox.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Throw my PlayStation in the river,
Yeah.
I
People
think,
are playing God of War on an Xbox controller on PC for the first time these days.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel as sacrilegious as it maybe was perceived to be.
I think games everywhere is the best thing for gamers. Just because I don't know, I like games.
Gamers.
And I think everyone should have access to these great games without having to buy 2 systems.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's fortunate enough to buy 2 systems.
I'm on board with that. All right, the gigantic stuff is mostly out of the way. Let's cover some of the smaller stuff. Dying Light fucking 2. You know what? You take it away. You take it away on Dying Light 2.
I made a joke towards this on the Game of the Year show, where you were talking about your playtime in Final Fantasy 14 being like 1,400 hours. So evidently Dying Light 2, they put out a tweet that it takes 500 hours to like 100% their game. And instantly I was like, well, I guess I'm not getting Dying Light 2 because I'm going to start that game and just get pissed because I can't get to platinum because it's going to take me my entire 20s to get the platinum.
Now, have they backpedaled a little bit on this already now?
Yeah, they did backpedal. They sent out an update. They said the main story is going to be roughly 20 hours with about 100 hours of completionists to explore the map and side quests and stuff. But because this game is choice driven and things change based on your choices, replaying the game about 5 times is how you see all of the options or something like that. And I don't care about any of that. If I can get all the trophies in one playthrough, I'll be fine. But I think it's going to be a great game. I have high hopes for this game. And I'm just glad they backpedaled on it. They never should have put out 500 hours. That's an instant turn off for most grown adults.
They're asking a lot of us for sure. Dying Light 2 is extremely uninteresting to me, but I don't like scary games, so I'm not really a good source here. It sounds like it's like more of a Skyrim type situation. I mean, I played Skyrim for the first time in the last year and a half or so, and I only played it for like 25 hours. I beat the main story quest and called it good. I understand why people love it and they want more of it.
You missed the good ones too.
The
main story is not even the good part. It's the College of Winterhold.
That's what they tell me, but in due time, maybe I'll check it out. But yeah,
I'm glad you played it though.
I think it's interesting that they had to say that and backpedal, and it's interesting to see the outrage of lengthy games coming around because I've gone on record. I love me a short game, 4 to 15 hours. That is the sweet spot.
1,400 and
whatever.
You like a short game so you can spend more time in Final Fantasy 14.
Yes. Of course. All right. From Dying Light 2, we can move to. Let's dive into John. We had a great moment. We had a great moment in the Discord where, if you heard our Halo conversation from our episode 0, Kaulin likes Halo for vastly different reasons than I like Halo. I like shooting guns at people. I know the ins and outs of like the first 3 Halo games loosely for story beats and whatnot, but it is not very important to me. But I posted my thoughts in the Discord, and I said in before Kaulin mentioned something and calls Master Chief John. And immediately you sent your body of text that had him referred to as John. Very good.
That's his name, man. John.
I guess.
Well, I don't know. I guess I picked that up from 4, where Cortana just calls him John. And like 4 and 5, it's just John. It's not. I mean, it is Chief, but nah, it's better than Paul. Paul.
Not really.
It's got to be. John's a great name.
I'd say it's the same.
Do you think his full name is Jonathan?
Yeah. Probably. Do you think they'll ever call? They'll have like a nice moment where Cortana's like, Jonathan, listen, like gets real serious, hits him with the full name, middle name too. Jonathan Martin Smith. He's gonna have the most
the widest
normal
name
sound
ever.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep. All but confirmed. Yeah. You heard it here first. Jonathan Martin Smith.
Jonathan Martin Smith.
Basic boy name. What do you think of the trailer?
I thought it looked pretty good. The suit looks great. I actually, for those of you who don't know, I in my past and stuff, I've done cosplay and stuff, and I made a Halo suit from Halo 4. I'm a bit of a nerd, right? But anyways, with that, I spent a lot of time looking at the suits in game and trying to interpret them and how they would work in real life and how they would look and everything. And I think they nailed it with the suit. The suit looks great. I do wish they had a little bit of a I wish they had a little bit of a texture on his visor. It seems a little plasticky to me.
Yeah.
But that's a nitpick. I think the trailer looks fun. It has an odd color grading to it. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I'm getting into color grading. The series looks really,
a lot of color
really
grading.
Cool.
Got him.
But some people are mad about the way Cortana looks, and I think she looks fine. I think it's a different representation of her.
Blue girl, not blue though. Fine.
She's kind of blue. I mean, roughly. She's wearing like a blue shirt. But what I really don't like is the voice actor, or I guess the actor for Master Chief is different than in games. And I understand like they probably can't have, I don't remember his name, but they probably can't have him just walk around in a Master Chief suit, right? He's not an actor himself, but they could have used his voice. They used Cortana's voice, but not his, and that creates some odd clash.
Pablo Schreiber? Is that his name? Fun fact, I'm big into like movies and TV as well. I love the entertainment industry as a whole. I had no idea Pablo Schreiber is the half brother of Liev Schreiber. Liev Schreiber?
Who's that?
Oh man. He's let's see. How can I
Jason Schreier?
No, definitely not. He's far more handsome than him. Liev is Wolverine. He's Sabretooth in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and you've seen him in a bunch of other shit.
Oh, yeah. I know him.
Yep.
He was oh god, what is it? I can't remember. Saul? Was that the show?
Maybe.
Saul?
I don't think so. He's in like Ray Donovan is like his big TV show.
Maybe that was him. Ray Donovan.
Yeah,
I like him. He's cool.
So
it's his brother.
Yeah, I knew both those actors. I'd never put together that they were siblings. Wild world. But yeah, my hype levels are, I think, in check for Halo. I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope it's rad. I will watch it on day one, and we will report back here in March, because it's coming out March 24th?
Something like that, yeah. I know it's March.
Yes.
Quick question. Have you ever watched the Halo Nightfall movie that was like a prequel to
Is it
Halo
the one
5?
Directed by... Ooh, hold on. I got his name. I'm not going to search it because it's in my head somewhere. Neil Blomkamp?
Maybe.
I believe that's him. He did District 9, Elysium.
Yeah, that feels right. It's got the same like.
Because I have watched it. It's fucking awesome, and that dude is really good at making, pretty good at making movies. And
yeah, it follows Locke before he becomes a Spartan.
Oh, it might not be him. Maybe I'm thinking of like the initial Halo.
Oh, you're thinking of Forward Unto Dawn.
Perhaps. I remember something with like live action brutes. It's like a 7-minute thing. It's a lot of action in like a desert. Yeah, that was really, really dope back in the day. I think it was like a proof of concept.
You should watch Halo Nightfall. It's a interesting movie. I thought it was all right.
You know, I'm big on Spartan Locke.
Yeah, it was a interesting movie. I'm not gonna say it's good, but I'm not gonna say it's bad either.
Sure.
But also, while you're bringing up Spartan Locke, just a fun fact: when they remade Halo 2 Anniversary, they hid Locke in the background of some of the cutscenes to give him a lead up into
we
Halo
retconned
5.
our new main character into the story we didn't create. Congratulations,
Literally.
343.
Yeah.
Give them their fucking crown. That's really mean. People.
But yeah, I think the show looks interesting, and I'm gonna watch it. That's pretty much all I got on it.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get to our last big-ish headline, and then we'll just kind of run down all the news that we're not really touching on. We'll just do some quick headlines, some quick thoughts on them. That is Respawn Entertainment is working on not one, not two, but 3 fucking Star Wars games for EA. Wild. Now, one of them is easy. Easy clap. Jedi Fallen Order 2. I'm all in. I want to see what's going on with Cal. Without going into too many spoilers, there is a very similar looking character in the newest episode of Boba Fett.
I really like that.
Yeah, me too. pretty interesting. I'd love to see those kind of worlds coincide. But the second game is really interesting to me. It's made by a newly formed studio from veterans of like the old XCOM teams. Ooh, a nice new strategy Star Wars game is overdue. Really fucking cool.
What is their name? I can't remember their name. I don't remember, but they're working on the.
If
Midnight
only
Sun
I created an incredible list full of links, I could tell you exactly what their name is. You ready?
I'm gonna feel like an idiot whenever.
I can't find it. It's too much to search through. Bit Reactor.
Yeah, there's a lot there. But
I got it. It's Bit Reactor.
Well, is that the new studio that's working on it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of a different one. Let me. You keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
Well, I don't have that much more to say about it. We can brush by it, but it's exciting time for Star Wars fans. We also have Lego Star Wars is on the horizon as well. Ubisoft is working on their open world Star Wars game, which is rumored to be Boba Fett or Mandalorian or Bounty Hunter inspired.
Yeah,
and I'm assuming a pretty tried and true traditional sense
Firaxis,
of Ubisoft
that's
open.
The name.
Firaxis. It's a good name.
Firaxis.
It's got a ring to it.
Yeah, that's the original developers of XCOM that they pulled talent from.
Got it.
To work on that.
Understood.
Yeah, the Ubisoft.
Pretty cool. All right.
And then there's also the first-person shooter Star Wars that they're making. Respawn's making.
That's right. Yeah. With a emphasis on mobility. I'm assuming it's whoever worked on Apex, however they divvy up their teams at Respawn. I'm assuming whoever was working on that smooth shooter is going to work on their next smooth shooter and have it be Star Wars. It's going to be
Star Wars Titanfall for sure.
Yep, for sure. All right, you ready to rapid fire through some headlines?
Yeah.
All right. Xbox One production stopped in 2020. Rest in peace.
Which
thoughts and prayers
is odd, seeing as PS4 production continues.
It's a funny thing that happened where that information broke, and then immediately after there's headlines of, oh yeah, Sony's still making PS4. Got them.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
so,
and they both directly contradict what they said they were going to do going into this generation. Xbox said they're going to continue to support Xbox One, and then PlayStation said, you know what, we're moving on to PS5. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Yep. Stalker 2 delayed to December. Whatever. Lego delays Overwatch set indefinitely due to the Activision Blizzard controversy. They can take that up with Microsoft in the future. Everybody loves NFTs. There's been so much NFT news. I can't wait for us not to talk about it.
I hate NFTs.
Earlier in the month, we had Respawn working on something. The rumor was a single-player FPS with a focus on mobility and style. That ended up being the Star Wars game, one of 3. Take-Two acquires Zynga. There was an interesting Take-Two call that got a couple headlines. Among them was their acquisition of Zynga for $12 billion. For those keeping track at home, that's nearly 4 times the amount that it took Sony to acquire Bungie. But that's an interesting world where they're entering that kind of mobile game. They've got a foothold in the mobile game genre for sure. But they also name-dropped fucking Midnight Club, which gives me hope that maybe we'll see a new racing game from Take-Two at some point in the near future. Twisted Metal.
They're also pissed at It Takes Two for using.
Yeah, so bizarre.
Takes Two.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
It's terrible.
Twisted Metal was in development hell and has been moved internal for development to Firesprite Studios at Sony. We've got a new trailer for Kirby and a release date, March 25th. Did you have something on Firesprite?
Yeah, so they pulled the director from Lucid Games who made Destruction All-Stars, and they stuck them on that Twisted Metal game.
Oh. I was hoping it was the other way around. They took the guy who was working on Destruction All-Stars out of working on the Twisted Metal game.
Oh, no, they put the director on that. Yeah.
We got a new Kirby trailer, Kirby in the Forgotten City, and it got a release date of March 25th. That is like a most anticipated video game for me. I can't wait to talk about that in a couple months. Trailer definitely worth watching.
Kirby, but The Last of Us.
Yes. PS3's titles have been popping up on the PS5 store in a couple countries, so there's rumors of there's all sorts of stuff floating around. Let's not dwell on it, but my guess is sometime in the next 2 shows that we do, we're going to be talking about Sony's plan for the future of their online subscription service and availability.
Project Spartacus.
Spartacus.
I think that these are just glitches. It happens sometimes when you like viewing the PS Now stuff that's PS3. I don't think it's anything to worry about. But yes, we will be talking about Spartacus in the future.
Nice. Jedi Fallen Order sequel we got. Lego Star Wars trailer and release date is up. New Need for Speed being name dropped is coming this year. All in on the racing games. Hyperscape is dead. I could have told you this headline 2 years ago when I played Hyperscape for the first time.
Yeah, it died a week after it came out.
Yep. I think that's most of the big ones. The last one that I have is Gran Turismo 7 State of Play on February 2nd, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. It's time to take our trip into kind of the last segments of the show. So what we'll do is we'll transition over to what's happening next month before we get into our kind of fun topics of the month. We have the next month coming up for new releases all prepared. If you're watching this, we got some visual cues that we'll bring up at the same time. But we're going to just run down release dates for February, what we can look forward to. And it starts off fucking quick tomorrow, February 1st. Life is Strange Remastered. Are you doing this game again?
Oh, absolutely. But I am giving it a little bit to see if they come out with a physical.
Of course.
But yeah, I'll play it again.
Of course. I think I might check it out for the first time. We'll see.
Do it.
To be determined.
I think that would be great.
February 4th, Dying Light 2. We've already talked a decent amount about that. You know anything about Ollie Ollie World? 2D skateboarding game? It was like a Vita game that was pretty popular, and they're really putting a lot of work into this one. It comes out February 8th. One of those little games that I don't think many people are paying attention to, but it might review well. So I'm interested to check that out. I may stream it. What do you think about Sifu? February 8th as well.
I think it's going to be fun. I hear like it's super fun.
I get that. I think it might be something I'm interested in. It's one of those games I'm going to wait for review scores on, though, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it looks a little questionable. I know that there's like some sort of mechanic where every time you die, you get older. So I'm worried about just being an old man 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and evidently when you die and get older, it gets harder. So maybe I'm misinformed on that. But
it sounds like a game I might be incapable of beating. All right, February 10th, every single Kingdom Hearts game that's been released so far mostly comes to Switch via cloud version. Exciting times. It's kind of portable now.
Is it like $1,000? Is it?
No, but it's too expensive. It's like 3 packs that are like $50 or $60 a piece. I'm sure they'll go on sale pretty soon, but it's crazy the price that they charge for those Kingdom Hearts games on other consoles as they come out. They treat them almost like they're new games. It is a lot of game in these little collections for sure, but it's painful because you can get them so cheap on their original PlayStation platforms, and then you're paying out the ass for them for playing them elsewhere.
Do they have the cutscene movies bundled in there?
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
it's all there. Total War Warhammer 3, February 17th. King of Fighters 15, also February 17th. Horizon Forbidden West, February 18th.
My baby!
Yeah,
I have the Regala edition pre-order. I'm going to open that on stream probably.
Nice. I am all in as well. I don't think I actually beat the first game, but the second one looks good. I'm going to play it. I'm going to stream it day one. Can't be left out of the conversation, especially because I'm going to be so brutally left out of the conversation on February 25th for Elden Ring. Are you doing Elden Ring?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love Souls games, specifically
yeah, you
Dark
do.
Souls.
But I feel like your hype is not commensurate with most gamers. Am I wrong? Are you just being quiet about it and you're really excited?
Yeah, I think I'm being more quiet about it. Also, I think it's kind of overshadowed by Horizon right now. It's a big month for big releases, and this will probably be one that I touch a little bit now, but I probably won't play it all the way through until the summer. So
do you think you will finish? Do you think you'll platinum Horizon Forbidden West before Elden Ring comes out? It is the 18th through the 25th. You'll have 7 days to do it.
I have school. Lots of school this semester. Picking up patience this semester.
We'll see. I bet this guy crunches it out. You're at least dangerously close by the time Elden Ring comes out. If you're watching this live, remind us next time we're recording the February show. Where did you land for completion on those? I'm sure we'll get into it no matter what.
Yeah.
The last thing that's coming out in February is some models of the Steam Deck, not to be confused with the Stream Deck, which is what I'm using to control these beautiful visuals you can see if you're watching this and not listening.
I really want one.
The more that I hear about this console, the more that I want it, and the more I feel left out for not pre-ordering it. I felt like it was not a necessity, and now as people start to get their hands on and developers start to tweet about what they're doing with it, it seems like it's going to be fucking fantastic, but I think we'll dive into it more.
My thing is, if I got it, I'd have to get the $600 one or whatever the top one is.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I really want to spend that much on a handheld when I don't even play my Switch?
I would probably go for the bottom of the line one just to get my foot in the door and have the thing to hold and play with, but I just feel like it's something that I don't travel all that much right now. I mean, I sit at my computer for the vast majority of the day. I don't really need a portable version of those games at the moment. I just feel like it would be cool and novel for a few hours, and it would probably sit on a shelf for a while, but who's to say? The last thing that we'll do for a preview is we'll just recap what's announced for PS Plus and the games with gold. So for PlayStation Plus, we're getting EA Sports UFC 4, Planet Coaster, and Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, which is standalone DLC. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, it was originally DLC for Borderlands 2 that they broke off, put it out on its own to get you ready for Tiny Tina's Wonderland or whatever the new.
So it's kind of the prequel prologue type of thing. They're rehashing it.
Yeah. I would even think Wonderland's probably more of a sequel because this standalone DLC Dragon Keep is pretty complete in itself.
Have you done it?
Yeah, I played it back in the day.
Platinum it?
Well, no.
Oh.
It was a DLC, so technically
not a gamer.
I couldn't platinum it, but
I
platinum Borderlands 3, just not 2.
You said rough month talking about PlayStation Plus, but that's nothing compared to the rough month over on Games with Gold. Let me read to you a bunch of games I've never fucking heard of. Broken Sword I've heard of, but they're getting Broken Sword 5. We're getting Never Yield. We're getting Hydrophobia, and we're getting something Bugs. Jesus Christ. I should have made that thumbnail a little bit larger. I don't know. I could not be less interested in. These services are getting worse and worse. I'm assuming Games with Gold has been shit for a long time, considering everything important comes to Game Pass, and it looks like PlayStation's starting to follow suit with this Project Spartacus lying in wait for us. So,
I think so.
Hopefully this stuff is all cleaned up and we don't have to recap these fucking terrible free games they're throwing at us in the future. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're playing one of these 4 games and you're like, this is just incredible.
If you're playing one of these 4 games and you like it, I think you should probably just throw your Xbox out the window.
No. You should correct us and then make us play it and feel like absolute fucking fools for not buying in from the get-go. We should have known.
Bugs? You don't play Bugs?
Yeah. How silly.
I don't even know what it is.
All right. Let's jump into the last segment. So this show is kind of structured in a couple different pillars. Obviously, it starts with what are we playing, then we hit the news, then we hit the next month's preview, then at the end things get a little funky. For today, Kaulin and I have each prepared a little bit of a segment to dive into, just some fun topics. In the future, once this show is off the ground, we're going to be looking for you at home, you listening to this in your ears right now or watching this on your screens, to submit us some things to talk about, whatever you want us to talk about, whether that's a prompt, whether it's something that's in the news that you want us to dive in on a little bit more. We'll be reaching out to you via YouTube comments, via Twitch streams, via our individual Discords, however you want to get in contact with us. We'll probably clean this up a little bit and get some nice proper channels as far as submissions go in the future if there's a interest in doing so and we don't have to solicit so much. In an ideal world, we have hundreds of thousands of listeners and too much mail to go through, but as of right now we have nothing, so we're making our own fun.
We have to
it's all right. It says episode 1 on the title. You guys know what it is. All right, so Kaulin, we'll lead with mine. We'll lead with yours, I think, because it's kind of more freeform, and I think more of what we're gonna do in the future. Mine's a little bit more, I guess, I'm gonna lightly call it like editorial. because I did a little bit of research, and it's a bit of a prediction for the future, and it ties into our news. So we'll close things out with that. You came up with the prompt, what game series needs to come back?
Yeah.
Fucking easiest prompt I've ever had. I did zero research or Googling. I went all from my mind and just immediately cranked out like 6 or 7. All right. What's at the top of your list? Can I get? No, I don't want to guess. I already know the answer, but I would have been able to guess it.
Absolutely. So this question comes from my constant pandering for new Sly Cooper. New Sly Cooper, remastered Sly Cooper, remade Sly Cooper, not rebooted. Don't reboot Sly Cooper. All right.
Just
Sony.
to spite you, in our lower third, I'm playing Sly Cooper 4 footage, so you can enjoy that.
Oh God, no!
As you go on, talk about Sly Cooper while this Sly Cooper footage plays.
Okay, well, I love Sly Cooper. It is my absolute favorite game. God, I can't look at that horrendous game. I love Sly Cooper. It is my favorite game series ever, excluding the 4th game, which I think was a solid 4 out of 10. This game was my entire childhood. I played it for countless hours, repeatedly, over and over and over. I think one game I sat and played and picked pockets. You can pick pockets in this game. I picked pockets until I had like 1 million coins, and that takes a long time because you only get like 20 coins per pocket. It's just a super unique platformer for the time. I think it was quite ahead of its time. It's kind of like a precursor to Assassin's Creed. I see it as. It's a stealth action platformer. It has like parkour type elements to it. Just the most amazing cast ever. There is Sly Cooper, the thief. He's a raccoon. There is Bentley, the brains. He's a turtle. And then there's Murray, the brawn. He is, of course, a hippo. But the original trilogy, developed by Sucker Punch, is just everything to me. Every time I see a copy, I buy it because I have to have it. So I have like 4 copies of each game.
That's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, I know. I can't help it. But my dream is that they'll remaster like Spyro and Crash style the first 3 games, just because I think they're perfect how they are, and they just need to be brought into this generation, right? The 4th game was an abomination. It was developed by Sanzaru Games, the people who did the remaster for the PS3 edition of the games, which the remaster was iffy at that. It was during the time of rough remasters. But this game series manages to tell it manages to tell a deep story about friendship and family and loss and just extremely important themes in life, but under the guise of a childish platformer, which I wouldn't say it's childish at all. It has great jokes that I still laugh at to this day, and just the most amazing voice cast ever. The chemistry between all the actors is phenomenal, and I play these games all the way through at least once a year.
I'm wondering if all of these segments that you come up with will just somehow have Sly Cooper shoehorned into them. Like, next segment is like, what are the best platformers of all time, or like, what are your best stealth segments?
So I can talk about Sly
and every
Cooper
time
every
it's
week.
Just like a Sly Cooper monologue.
I have to talk about Sly Cooper.
Listen, here's the thing, is like, I'm a Sly Cooper fan, not as big as Kaulin, but I don't want you guys to think that I'm not interested in that, because that absolutely makes my list as well. Too good. My list, I'll run through and just kind of highlight a couple and then let you take it away. At the top of my list is SSX. Oh, please. And I'll bring up SSX and Burnout at the same time, because they're both EA franchises that I just need to return. They're both so good, and it's been too long since we've had new ones, and I'm just into those like over the top sports games. Like SSX Tricky and 3 are 2 of like my favorite sports video games ever fucking created, and I just need to see these reimagined. They tried again in like 2011 or 12. They made a pretty good sequel. I mean, I say pretty good, and I put like 100 hours into it. I still really liked it. It wasn't as good as those original SSX games. Same deal with Burnout they sort of fell off. Burnout 3 is the best arcade racer ever created. Burnout Revenge, also pretty good. Burnout Paradise went open world and it lost some of its magic to me. It's also been remastered and kind of rehashed, so there is a loving fan base for it, for sure. But it's still missing in action. All these games are missing in action for about 10 years apiece, for the most part. And I would love to see either of them come back, without a fucking doubt. What else do you have on your list?
Well, you did say 10 years apiece, which is a very interesting difference between mine and Jake's list. Is my games are they've been on a much shorter hiatus for the most part. Last Sly Cooper was in 2013, so 9 years. But I don't want to count that one because it sucked. So 2007 was Sly Cooper 3. But anyways, enough of Sly Cooper. I get on my tangent about Sly Cooper all the time. Dishonored is number 2 on my list. A stealth action platformer. I was gonna say stealth action platformer. It's definitely the best stealth game ever. It's best stealth series. The heists, the missions where you have targets to assassinate, by far just the most fun open sandbox worlds. And they go one at a time, like one little area per mission. It's not like a full open world Assassin's Creed style.
Yep.
If you've played Deathloop, it's literally the precursor to Deathloop. And they made the first 2 games, and then they made a standalone DLC called Death of the Outsider, which was supposed to be the end of Dishonored. Because there's some stuff going on there with like the Outsider, and like he's kind of like a god of that world. So if you kill the god, then what's left of the world type thing. It's up in the air whether it'll ever come back. They said they're done with it for now, which is why they moved on to Deathloop. But there are hints in Deathloop that it takes place in the Dishonored universe. So
that's pretty
cool. See. Yeah.
Love it. I'll do another pair because both of mine are Nintendo franchises that have been left behind, and they are Kid Icarus and F-Zero. Kid Icarus maybe less so. I liked the try that they gave it on the 3DS, Kid Icarus Uprising, with a very strange control style. Kid Icarus Uprising, do you know anything about this video game?
Not a single thing.
It's a 3DS game that came with a stand for your 3DS because the way that you're supposed to play it is with one hand controlling it and the other hand with a stylus. And it was a kind of an abomination. Real pain in the fucking ass to play. But the series itself, Pit, I feel like is a really big deal in Super Smash Bros., which brings me to another big deal in Super Smash Bros., F-Zero. This game is ripe for a remake or a rehash or a reboot, however you want to do it. Such fun, futuristic racing, boosting all over the place, and Captain Falcon needs his time to shine. I don't know if they just make an arcade racer. Falcon Punch, for sure. I don't know if they just make an arcade racer out of it, or if they make Captain Falcon a leading man and have some sort of story there, but it feels like untapped potential that Nintendo is sitting on right now. So I would love to see either of those franchises come back. I'll dish it back to you. You got some other stuff on that list?
Yeah, so I have 4 left. I'm gonna kind of gloss over a couple of them. I put Infamous. It's another great sucker punch thing. I mean, it's been a while since we've had Infamous. Instead, we got Ghost of Tsushima, which is also perfect. But I think if a new Infamous would be fun. They're just dumb fun games as well. Medal of Honor. I loved Medal of Honor back in the 360 days. I don't remember exactly which one it was that I played, but I thought I loved it. I liked it more than the.
I like Medal of Honor earlier than that.
Yeah, see, I didn't play
like
it
the Pacific Assault and Medal of Honor Frontlines, like the old PS2 ones, is when I was into that for sure. Before, I don't know, they were kind of put to shame by Call of Duty in time. And
yeah, they were.
They tried there was like the actual titled Medal of Honor where they kind of made it like a modern reboot of the game, and it was, I think, Medal of Honor Warfighter, I want to say, was the second try, and since then I'm pretty sure they're extinct, but I get that one.
I think it is. Which they made. Respawn recently made a Medal of Honor VR game that got nominated for an Oscar or something like that.
That's right.
But I'm not
recently.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Yeah, and then I have Star Wars Battlefront, which you're like, oh, Kaulin, we got one of those in 2016.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Was it 2016? Yeah, I'm thinking more back to the PS2 one. Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PS2 is my the second game that I would play back in those days. It would be Sly
Yeah.
Cooper and Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Hmm.
Those were just, oh my god, all the
I
memories in
played a
that
lot of
game.
those like hero fights in Battlefront 2 where it was just
Yeah.
absolute madness. It was Vader and Boba Fett and everybody running around all at once
Mhm.
in the middle of fucking
Yeah.
Tatooine. So fun.
And they just never recaptured that magic with the new ones. As good as the newest Star Wars Battlefront 2 is after they fixed it, it just didn't have the same magic to it. Although that is still a phenomenal game that I have to platinum on.
Oh, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
Yeah, I know. What about you?
So I've got a couple more. I think it would be quite nice to see the return of. I'm gonna go with some platformers, some Jack and Daxter in Klonoa.
Yep.
Jack and Daxter is a Naughty Dog piece, so they got their hands full with Uncharted these days and Last of Us. But I think that platformer, even if it's not Naughty Dog that does it, I just want to see the resurgence. I want to see Sly Cooper and Jack and Daxter get the same treatment that Ratchet and Clank does. They deserve their time in the spotlight. They're both as good, if not better, than the Ratchet and Clank games. For me, it's Ratchet and Clank first, but for many others, they choose otherwise. In Klonoa, have you ever heard that name in your life?
I have not.
So I've got a copy of like Klonoa Door to Phantomule is the first one. It was like a PS1 side-scrolling 3D platformer. It was a 2D platformer with 3D graphics. Such a fun video game. They made Klonoa 2, which was pretty close to a launch game for PlayStation 2. And then there was like a Game Boy Advance version of it as well, a pair of them. And they are super, super fun video games. On the same topic, I polled chat who's watching this live to see what they'd like. I got some good picks in there too. I see Banjo-Kazooie, which fits right in with platformer. I see Fusion Frenzy. People know how to get to me. I see Legend of Dragoon. All very good picks. To round out my list, the last things that I have written down here are... the last thing I have written down is... This is a weird one. This is my Kaulin style pick. Final Fantasy X. Now, I know what you're thinking. Final Fantasy's still around. Why Final Fantasy X? All I'm saying is Final Fantasy X was the very first game that ever got a numerical sequel. Final Fantasy X-2 to follow up the popularity of Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X-2 also got an international version, which included hints towards Final Fantasy X-3, an often rumored game. There's all sorts of weird stuff that happens in Final Fantasy X-2. There's a whole subplot in an audio drama that's unlocked after you beat the game that hints towards 10-3. There's a whole story of Yuna, the main character, having a new fling and Tidus returning. There's a lot of ins and outs and a lot of ways that they could do this, but 10-3 has been a long rumored entry into the Final Fantasy franchise that I would love to see revisited. It is one of the best Final Fantasies, and I would love to see it as... I don't know, commemorated in a few years as Final Fantasy VII is now.
How would you feel if Final Fantasy did a
Souls-like
Spider-Man No Way Home type thing, and they meshed all of the Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, they do. It's
9,
called
10.
Kingdom Hearts, and it's fantastic. I'd feel very good about it.
Like Avengers Assemble all Final Fantasy crews ever.
They pitter-patter around that all the time, to be quite honest. They have like those Dissidia games that literally have like a melded timeline type thing. They have like World of Final Fantasy that does that. They have a slew of mobile games that try to take that idea and put it together. But it would be cool, I know what you're saying, to have like a traditional Final Fantasy where it's like Tifa, Tidus, and Dagger are like your main party characters. Like all your favorite people are back in action doing a game that feels traditional while still melding them all together instead of some sort of wacky spin-off where they collaborate with Disney characters or fight in battlefields to the death. For sure.
Elsa.
Yes.
My last one is Transformers. Specifically, there's Transformers the movie, the game for PS2. Okay, it's so dumb, right? But you could drive around as a car, like you could be Bumblebee as the Camaro, and then just press a button and transform and like blow up the town and climb up buildings and find like Decepticons just hiding out in the environment. I'm just thinking of like a modern graphic Transformers game.
Surprised you went in that direction and not those two Cybertron games. There's like Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron, which I think I've never played any Transformer game ever, I don't think. Despite being, I guess, kind of into the franchise. But I remember those are kind of the ones that people typically cite, I think, right? As being like kind of the best.
I think I played one of the Cybertron games, and I wasn't impressed with it after playing the movie The Game, which was one of my favorite PS2 games as well. It was great.
I've got a couple more suggestions from chat live. Parasite Eve, which is interesting. I think, do you remember that? Oh, what a segue. That State of Play where they showed off that game where the character's name was Eve and there were a bunch of parasites and it's not a Parasite Eve game.
It's called Project Eve, isn't it?
Project Eve, that's right. No association. Project Gotham Racing is an interesting one. I'd love to see that back. Project Gotham Racing introduced the world Geometry Wars. What a time to be alive. That was the coolest thing ever.
Is Project Gotham Racing not like a Batman racer? No.
It's like a standard, like almost sim, somewhere between sim and arcade racing where you customize your car. It was a, PGR1 was an original Xbox launch game. And then I think there's 3 total. Project Gotham Racing 2 is the one that I put the most time into. They had like a first person section where you could hop out and like walk around your garage and see your cars, and then in that garage there was an arcade cabinet for a game called Geometry Wars. You know Geometry Wars?
Yeah.
So that's where that whole thing originated from. It was like a mini game baked into an Xbox launch game. Very fucking cool. It was between Forza and Gran Turismo. That's a perfect way to put it. Yep. Really good shit. Really good shit. The last thing I see is GoldenEye, of course. Of course. Even a remake of GoldenEye would be nice. Quite nice. Let's move into our final segment of the night. Ya boy did some research. When is the next big State of Play? This, as of 2 days ago, the segment was called When is the next State of Play? Unfortunately, Sony rained on my parade and they just fucking told us. But we'll go a level deeper. When is the next big State of Play? What I did is I sifted through all of the live streams that Sony has done in the past 2 or 3 years, basically since the PlayStation 5 reveal. I dated them, I included what they had, and I put the time in between each of them. Using all of this information that I will relay to you today, I, at the end of this, will predict moderately accurately when the next big State of Play is. All right? So let me walk you through. Can I
make a prediction? Without your math, can I just make my prediction?
At the end? Yeah, okay. Go for it.
I say the next showcase.
We share a spreadsheet. Don't steal my fucking answer.
Wait, do you have an answer on here?
All right, good, perfect. No, maybe I don't.
Okay. My guess for the next PlayStation showcase is sometime in September.
For the next showcase. That's not the question. That's not the title. When is the next big State of Play? Make your prediction.
Tuesday. 2/2/2/2.
Nailed it.
20.
Nailed it. All right. Enough of your bits. All right, here's the research. I'm going to run you down the history of these State of Plays, and I think there's some interesting things to grasp here. And I'll let you guys know how I come to my conclusion, and I'll let you know the time in between each one. So June 11th of 2020 was the Future of Gaming show. That was the PS5 reveal. They showcased Miles Morales, Stray, Ratchet, Returnal, Sackboy, Kenna, Oddworld, Pragmata. That was the big, holy shit, this system is supposed to come out in the next few months and we don't know anything about it. They had all those little teases of the actual console itself, and at the very end they revealed it along with all the details. Pretty cool. After that, there was about a 3-month gap until September 16th of 2020. It's also worth noting how in this world there is no Wikipedia article for Sony live events.
Maybe you should make it.
I really should have. I could have just multitasked. I pulled all the fucking information, but it doesn't exist out there. If someone more tech savvy than me wants to take a shot at it, please make my life easier for the future. These things should be dated. All right. Yeah. The September 16th show was, all right, this thing is well on the way. Here's what you can look forward to in the future. This was the big boy. This one's got Final Fantasy 16, the full gameplay of Miles Morales that had like the walking through the like festival, the party, and then led to the battle on the bridge. It debuted Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 8, Demon Souls gameplay deep dive. It also had the PlayStation Plus collection announcement, which was really interesting. All the stuff that you were going to get from PS4 for free on PS5. And then it ended on the Ragnarok title reveal, which was really cool. So that was the PlayStation Showcase. After that 5.5 month gap, the PlayStation 5 comes out. And then it is quiet until February 25th of 21. Crash 4, Returnal, Sifu, Kenna, Deathloop, Five Nights at Freddy's, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade. This one was gigantic. If you watch me on Twitch, you'll see a GIF every time you subscribe where I go, I lose my mind. If you can't see, my fucking jaw is dropped right now. And it's when they debuted that new Yuffie gameplay from Intergrade. Really, really exciting times. That's an example of a big state of play. Very, very important moment in PlayStation 5 history. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. When's the next one of those? And there's been one more, maybe two, since then that I think would qualify. But nonetheless, we continue on. There's another 2-month gap, and pretty soon after, that Crash 4 and Intergrade one was on February 25th of 21. This was on April 29th of 2021. This was the Ratchet Deep Dive. It was pretty interesting. It had mostly Ratchet and Clank, but at the beginning it had a little peppering of a couple games, including Among Us for PlayStation 5 and Subnautica Below Zero. Then, less than a month later, on May 27th, was the Horizon Deep Dive. You and I streamed that together. That was like the debut of all the gameplay, a nice like 20-minute segment of the game actually running, getting hyped for it. After that...
That was also when it was like scheduled to come out in fall.
That's right.
Before it got delayed.
We were theorizing on if the game was going to come out still, and if they weren't announcing a date because they were worried.
Delaying it. Yeah.
Sure enough. After that, 1.5 month gap to July 8th of 21. This was I would say this is like a middle state of play. This counts as a big state of play. It's not like a single game deep dive. It had Moss 2. It had some VR stuff at the beginning. Debuted Tribes of Midgard. Death Stranding definitive or director's cut, as well as a nice look at Deathloop, which was on the horizon at that point. After that, a 2-month gap. We're now out of state of play area, and we're into another PlayStation Showcase. This was the last big one, baby. This one had the KOTOR reveal, Forspoken gameplay, Guardians of the Galaxy deep dive, the Uncharted collection, which just came out last week. You didn't play that, huh?
Not yet. I will.
Yeah, same here. We kind of breezed over that in what we've been playing. Bad on us. Then at the end of it, it was all of the first party stuff. So they showed off Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, Gran Turismo 7, God of War Ragnarok, full game. Just good stuff. One. So at that point, we've now had all of the PlayStation showcases. Everything has been a state of play except for the initial debut, which was the Future of Gaming show. The PlayStation showcase that came after that, which had like FF16 and the Ragnarok title reveal. And the PlayStation showcase we just talked about, which was like KOTOR, Uncharted, Wolverine, Spidey, Ragnarok. About a month and a half later, there was another state of play. This is the kind of state of play that I assume we're going to get after this Gran Turismo 7 one. This one had the Bugsnax DLC, Five Nights at Freddy's, Death's Door, Kart Racer Drift, First Class Trouble, which we streamed together, and Little Devil Inside was kind of the finale. After that, 4-month gap that we're still in the midst of. So that was October 27th of 21. Now coming up in just a couple days on February 2nd of 22 is a Gran Turismo state of play. So this one is announced to be probably the most similar to the Horizon deep dive that happened in May, where it's just a single game and all of the stuff that's coming along with it. So I'm assuming we'll get, our final look at that game before it's released within the next couple months. Pretty cool, but it leaves the question, when is the next big PlayStation State of Play? The answer for you, I have used scientific calculations and research to decide that the next big state of play will be between March 15th and April 7th. That's my guess. It seems like in the middle of the year, Sony likes to wait about a month to 2 months or so for them to blow the lid off of something else. The fact that we have this Gran Turismo deep dive leads me to believe that they need a little bit more time to get things, squared away and make sure that they have a nice selection of games to show us. But for the most part, the consistent thing is that towards the end of the year, in September or so, they have a big PlayStation showcase where they blow the roof off the joint. But leading up to that, it's all smaller deep dives on games that are already announced and coming out, and then little announcements for technically smaller games or teases before they deep dive into them. So I'm expecting something along the lines of like that Tribes of Midgard, Deathloop, Death Stranding, Moss 2 type state of play to come sometime before April 7th, probably towards the end of March. That's my guess. What do you think?
I am looking one thing up right now. I think you're probably right. Yeah, for sure. So I just did some research. Forspoken releases May 24th. I can't think of any other first-party game that's coming out
Gran Turismo.
Before Ragnarok. But like after, forget Gran Turismo, past that, what is there? First party? Nothing.
Think anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're going to get a bunch of third-party stuff before... What was it?
I think there's still some stuff that they kind of need to make good on. I would love to see Final Fantasy 16 come back. I would love to see Capcom's Moon game, Pragmata. Yeah, Pragmata. I don't know
how to pronounce it.
And I think there's some stuff that they need to show off, and I would love to see, something along the lines of like that Death Stranding director's cut or the Final Fantasy 7 remake integrate, some sort of upgrade or smaller game that they announce straight out of the blue to kind of entertain us.
And I also think the next one will have to have something about Hogwarts, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know when that releases. I imagine it'll be in the summer sometime.
Yeah, I think they're still targeting like September of this year is the last rumors that I saw.
So?
But
okay.
Who knows? I would say it's probably a shoe-in for holiday season of this year unless something goes terribly fucking wrong.
Do we have a release date for Little Devil Inside?
I don't think so. I feel like that said like spring 22 at the end of the trailer.
Said July. Oh god, the thing that I said July 2021.
Woof.
That's wrong.
Did it come out?
I don't know.
I didn't care about that game all that much.
If it did, I didn't know it. I think it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I remember being impressed with that dive and saying, "Yeah, it looks like a cool game that I'll never play."
Yeah. But what I did is I wrote your guess on a little Post-it note.
Nice.
You can't read that at all.
Love it.
Oh, there we go. Oh
no, you got it wrong. My guess is 315 and 47.
Oh, okay. Oops.
Numbers are off. Don't misquote me.
47. 315 and 47.
Yep.
Okay. I have a sticky note of that. If it doesn't come true,
You want to make a bet?
I don't know what I mean, sure. Do you want to make a bet? What are we betting?
Yeah. Let's bet something. Let's bet a stream. One stream, 2 hours long.
Okay. If
game of your choice, but you have to choose it right this fucking moment.
Resident Evil 8.
Fuck. All right.
At least I didn't pick 7.
Kingdom Hearts 1.
Okay. Deal.
Boom.
And if it doesn't come out within that time frame, you lose. If it comes out within that time frame, I lose.
I feel like the odds are in your favor there, but I'll
I don't know, man.
I feel pretty strongly. I did the fucking research.
Yeah.
I'm informed now. I might be the authority in PlayStation State of Plays in this universe after the research that I've done. Who's to say?
I'm pretty sure you're probably the only one in the world.
Maybe my pet project will be to make a Wikipedia entry for PlayStation State of Plays. If I just make it, someone will correct it,
That's true. I mean, that's my goal in life is just to make things wrong and have people correct me.
That's what I do. Profession. All right, nice. We've got a bet in. There is more to do. That is GameList, baby. That's a show. I'm proud of it already, and I haven't even listened to it back, but I'm assuming it was just excellent. If you're still listening to this or watching this, or even if you're here live, you are an absolute gem because this has been awesome. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping and just our plugs, where to find us. I'll start. You have to prepare yours.
I've
if
got
I remember
mine
last time. All right, I'm Jake Twitchin' everywhere, like twitching without the G. Jake Twitchin'. Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, but I'm not really on there. but I locked it down so you can't be, motherfuckers.
Wow.
Yes. I stream most nights at 9 o'clock Eastern time. That's where you can find us recording this thing live. We'll aim for the end of the month of February. We'll lock down a time, but essentially expect these posted as close to the end of the month or the first of the next month as humanly possible, so that we can recap the month in its entirety, as well as give you a preview for what's coming. If you listen to this right as the month turns over, you should be prime time for a recap of what's been happening and what's coming.
Yeah.
Kaulin, where to find you?
So if you're watching or if you're listening to this and you want to watch the video version, check me out on YouTube at Kaulin, Kauline. I got a purple little logo with a white K.
Nice.
And then on Twitter, I changed my tag on Twitter from last week. On Twitter and Twitch, I will be Kaulin _ Kauline _ So find me there, and all the other socials, they kind of all link together. So if you find one, you'll find the other.
Absolutely. Easy as that. That's how you do a podcast. This is the first of many. They'll get a little cleaner. I'm assuming we'll lock it in. They'll become, honestly, even more casual as well. The beginning of this podcast had a little bit of an intro to it, just so I could kind of table set and let you know what to expect, so that people could tune out if it's not their thing or tune in if it is. But in the future, my end goal is that this show always starts with me saying, "Kaulin, what you been playing, dude?" That's it. Easy way to start it, and we'll just segue into everything from there. Really fun.
We refuse to introduce our guests as well,
Yes.
They'll have to introduce themselves.
That's right. We're going to have guests. But this is just the start. This is just the start. In due time. For now, it's the Jake and Kaulin show. Awesome.
We actually had a guest this whole time and forgot to introduce him, and he was just waiting to talk until he was introduced.
Can that be our bit? It's like the SNL What's Up With That segment, where they always have the one guy who doesn't get a chance to talk, played by Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys all so much for being here. This was a blast. Kaulin, thanks to you, as usual.
Yeah.
We'll see you in about a month.
Bye.